Hello, my name is Antonella Moretto and I'm Assistant Professor of Supplier Relationship Management at the School of Management of Politecnico di Milano. The aim of this lecture is to answer to the following key questions. What is the process of seasonal collection development? And how is this connected with the main supply chain decisions? After this lecture, you will be able to know which are the main phases of the new collection development process and how the key decisions are impacting supply chain choices. The new collection development process is perhaps the most critical and relevant process of a fashion and luxury supply chain. It is where ideas take life, it's where the real heart of these companies dwells. For instance, a seasonal collection is the set of products developed by companies for a collection, taking into consideration the customer needs, tastes, fashion, and usage. The new collection development process includes four main steps: idea generation, product line creation, preparation for production, and market preparation. The first phase, idea generation, includes all the work to define the moods and their relative color variation, and to sketch the models. First of all, in this phase, information about the trends in the industry, customers' requirements, available materials, and competitors are collected. The idea generation phase is usually including a general meeting to define the merchandising grid, that is, the grid including all the boundaries of the seasonal collections, generally agreed with the merchandiser. It is also important to involve supply chain people in this meeting to try to anticipate potential constraints that could eventually emerge at the supply chain and production level later, and so to try as much as possible to avoid loops. The second phase is product line creation and includes all the work to choose the suppliers of the fabrics and all the components, and to create the patterns, define the technical sheets for the products, and lastly, create the prototypes. The phase starts with the sketches and ends with the prototypes created. Several meetings are planned during this phase to go through the funnel of ideas. After the creation of patterns, a selection of which patterns to keep is realized. Then, technical analysis is performed and an additional selection could be performed. Finally, the last choice could happen after the creation of prototypes. All of the fashion products have at least a virtual prototype. Most of the products also have a physical prototype. In some cases, it could happen that more than one physical prototype is realized per one same product. In this phase, alignment between new collection development process and the supply chain decision is incredibly important. A lack of alignment might be a cause of unsuccess of the overall process. First of all, this is the phase where suppliers are selected. Purchasing people could provide feedbacks about previous relationship, might give suggestions about new innovative suppliers available in the market, or could be involved in the selection and negotiation phase. Secondly, prototypes are realized. In most of the cases, external labs are used to realize prototypes, and delays in this phase might create delays in the overall process. Again, as external suppliers, a direct involvement of a purchasing department could strongly contribute to the success of this phase. Thirdly, the output of this phase is the final product. Involvement of production people is particularly relevant to assure the feasibility of the product with desired features when the production will be launched. The first phase is preparation for production, in which the seasonal collection is industrialized thanks to the development of sewing partners, CAD models, and specifications. In this phase, the real engineering activities of the collection are realized, and the selection of which products are actually launched in the market is taken. This phase is quite technical because it has the purpose to translate the dream into reality. Moreover, this phase is particularly important as most of the production activities are not realized within the company anymore, but are outsourced to external suppliers. For those reasons, it is fundamental that engineering of the collection is perfectly realized, as the generated documents are the input to really launch the collection into production. Whether any problems would happen when the company moves to a larger scale, the collection will be quite likely in delay. Finally, the fourth and last phase is market preparation. The output of this phase is the sample, meanwhile the last verifications on the products are performed to check that the collection is deliverable. The sample represents the overall collection in one single site, with the purpose to show the collection during the sales campaign, thereby allowing buyers to select which items they will buy in the next collection. Sometimes, in the sample development, some final modifications of the product might occur, but these should be as few as possible. During this lecture, you have understood which are the main phases of the collection development process and understood why it is important that each single phase is not managed independently but through a proper involvement of supply chain people to guarantee the success of the collection and to minimize as much as possible delays.